Hi Year 10. Welcome to lesson 3 on cybersecurity. So last week you did do some work for me. Hopefully I asked you to go onto the BBC Bite Size website and have a look at some notes on cybersecurity. So what I'm about to say to you hopefully isn't completely new, but perhaps at least I'll be able to explain some of it in a little bit more detail, put it into context. So we've been learning about different forms of cyber attack, how it can be, how it can take different forms, and we've got examples here such as planting viruses or acquiring personal information, etc. Many cyber attacks will take advantage of human weakness or gullibility, or they'll take advantage of technical weaknesses in the computer systems. What we're going to look at today is how cyber attacks take advantage of humans basically, and some of the stupid things that we do when we're using a computer, either thoughtless or mindless, just making silly mistakes really. Now we refer to this as social engineering. Humans are often the weakest point in security. Social engineering is the art of manipulating or conning individuals into giving away private information, for example, their login IDs or passwords, even bank account details, or parting with their cash. And common techniques of social engineering, which we'll look at today, include phishing, farming, blagging, and shoulder surfing. So phishing, first of all, you may have heard of phishing. It's usually an email that will trick you into handing over sensitive or personal information. You get what looks like a legitimate email from an organisation you might know, and the website will urge you to visit, or rather the email will urge you to visit a bogus website and put in your personal details, which are then captured by phishers. Now you might think, well, okay, not many people will fall for that. I've got a picture there. You'll probably know at least one of those. You hopefully will recognise Hillary Clinton there. Now, an example of somebody falling for a phishing email is back in 2016 when Hillary Clinton ran for the US presidency. Now, that gentleman there on the left, that is John Podesta, who was her campaign manager. Now, he had his email hacked by Russian spies when they sent him a phishing email. So they disguised it as a note from Google asking him to reset his password. And he thought then, by doing that, he's securing his account. But actually, he gave his login credentials away. So his emails were then obtained by WikiLeaks, and probably over 20,000 emails were then available to read. Now, this was catastrophic for Hillary's campaign. And obviously, as we're aware, the presidency went to Donald Trump. Bit of a disaster really. So does it always work? Well, not all the time, but phishers will send out hundreds of thousands of emails that will look legitimate, and they have a success rate of about 5%, which means 5% of those recipients will get conned. Now, at the moment, many people are working from home, and that quite makes it a bit easier for phishers to take advantage of that. If you are not seeing your colleagues physically in the office, it's much harder to check whether or not they actually did send an email asking for a particular bit of information, or transfer some money, pay for whatever item, because they're not necessarily seeing them often. So during this pandemic, there are reports that suggest that phishing has increased, and scammers are benefiting from this massive increase in home working. I said that, fake email address, no greeting. This link will be a forged link. If you look here, my.halifax.co.uk, it may look like a genuine one, but if you were to hover your mouse over that, it is possible to fake the text that is read on the URL, and it would actually point to a different website. They'll want that login, so you have to put, they want you to verify your email address, your login details, and there's a sense of urgency. So here, if you don't verify your email address, you'll need to re-register if you want to view your bill online. So that's going to make people rush to click on that link. Okay, so how do you protect yourself against those sorts of scams? Use a spam filter to make sure that those types of emails don't even get into your inbox, and be suspicious. If you're not completely sure it's genuine, don't click on links or attachments. So shoulder surfing, so this is where you would directly observe a user entering their security details. Now that could be in an office, a public space, or it could even be at an ATM machine, somebody withdrawing cash. Pharming attacks are much harder to detect, because instead of you clicking on a phony link, you will actually put in, or the correct URL for a website, clicking on a link on maybe you've searched for it, and what happens is you are then redirected to a bogus website. Now often that is for banks or other shopping sites, and it will require unprotected access to a customer's home computer, and it is a really serious threat. It is possible to detect these pharming attacks. ISPs will sometimes filter these out, but you can always check at the top of a web page that the URL is still spelt correctly when you arrive at the page, and then also check that the HTTP has changed to HTTPS, which would indicate that it is a secure site. Blagging, the third one. So blagging is a scenario. Usually you'll get an email from a friend or somebody that you know, and it's always some sob story, stuck travelling, beaten and robbed, need money to get home, all of those sorts of things. So it's usually quite easy to detect these, or even at least to check them. Ring your friend, ring their parents. You might find that other people on their address book have also received the same message. Now, often that person's address list will be deleted so that they can't then let people know that it's a fake message. So that often throws up some issues. But if you receive an email like that from a friend, you don't send any money, don't reply, give them a call. A Trojan horse email, so another something which to be suspicious of. Somebody will email you something to look at, a funny video, or have a look at this attachment or link, but when you open it, it then installs a virus on your computer. Now that Trojan virus might record your keystrokes, it might send them to the attacker, etc. So another thing to be careful of. So that's another result of blagging there. So here you can see zip file here. We don't know what's in it, so always be suspicious there. Problem with parcel shipping, but they don't refer to us by name. Shipment labels attached. So yeah, that is quite a suspicious email there. Now, again, similar to the phishing emails, often with the Trojan horse emails, the sender is, or rather, sorry, there is a pressure to act fast. So you might get that, it might come from your friend or somebody you know's genuine email address, but then obviously there's a link there to download that virus or take you somewhere. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an overview of social engineering. So some of the forms that we looked at there: phishing, pharming, blagging and shouldering. Hopefully you understand those and are able to give some examples, and think of some ways other ways in which we can protect ourselves. Those are the sorts of questions you might be asked. So check on classcharts for your next task, which will lead on from this. Okay, thank you.